Good evening, everyone. Notice of this meeting stating the date, place, and time has been disseminated as required under the Open Public Meeting Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975. This meeting is called to order. Mr. Clerk, please conduct the prayer and flag salute to my left.
God of the universe, look thou with favor upon these here assembled, and bestow thy guidance upon the members of the governing body in their deliberations. This we ask in thy name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. In event of an emergency, the proper method for exiting the council chambers is through the 3 doors in the rear of the room. Occupants should proceed down the staircase out the front door and move away from the area of the front steps. Any member of the public wishing to speak during the public comment session at the end of the meeting, please sign in on the white sheets provided in the front of the room. Please turn off all cell phones or place them on vibrate. If you must make a call, please leave the chambers. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Kalbas. Here. Koziel. Brown. Here. Armstead. Here. Cosby Hurling.
Here.
Sadowski. Here. Sheehy. Here. Yamikaitis.
Here.
Frazier. Here. Kaczynski.
Here.
Mr. Moore.
Here. This evening we have a presentation that Councilwoman Cosby Hurling and Mrs. Yamikaitis are going to present for breast cancer survival. Would you please conduct that, please? Suzette Green McCall, are you in the chambers? Yes, she is. Could you come up, please?
I want to acknowledge Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and we have a survivor, and she has a story, basically, of triumph. So I want to say, God bless you. She is an inspiration to women and men everywhere, especially in the city of Linden, and we have a resolution honoring her tonight. Whereas every 69 seconds, somewhere in the world, a woman dies of breast cancer. Every 3 minutes, a woman in the United States is diagnosed with breast cancer. And every 13 minutes, a woman loses her battle with disease. And whereas worldwide breast cancer is the most frequently diagnosed life-threatening cancer in women and the leading cause of cancer death among women, and whereas increased public awareness and improved screening have led to earlier diagnosis and survival rates of breast cancer have been improved significantly, and whereas Suzette Green McCall was diagnosed with triple-negative breast cancer 5 years ago, she unknowingly battled breast cancer during her pregnancy and was diagnosed 5 months after giving birth to her daughter, and ultimately had to have a bilateral mastectomy and reconstruction. Whereas in order to help others, she shares her story throughout the county and the state, encouraging young women to perform self-examinations and have mammograms regularly. Whereas the month of October has been declared Breast Cancer Awareness Month nationwide. Now therefore be it resolved, the mayor and council of the city of Linden recognize Suzette Green McCall for her courage in fighting this disease and wish to thank her for her efforts in furthering breast cancer awareness. Thank you so much. You want to say a few words?
Thank you. I didn't know if you would have me speak today, so I didn't know what to say. I purposely don't have on pink. I didn't want to be identified because breast cancer doesn't identify any race, creed, color, age, or anything of that nature. I was 35 when I was diagnosed with the disease. And my daughter's 5 years old today. I'm standing here today. I work every day tax-paying citizen. So I just want to thank you all for just having me and for presenting me this honor, and I said thank you. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'd like to get move into the minutes of September 18th, 2012 council meeting. I'd like to get a motion, please.
Council President, I ask for approval of minutes of September 18, 2012, and seek a second.
Second. Mr. Colbus?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Crosby Hurling?
Yes.
Zadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Kaczynski? Yes. Mr. Moore?
Yes. We're going to move into ordinance on hearing. This is the date and time established for public hearing for ordinance on hearing. 5653, Councilwoman Cosby Hurling.
I'm going to make a motion to table ordinance 5653 and have it continue next month, and I ask for a second.
Second.
Mr. Colbus?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Crosby Hurling?
Yes.
Zadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. 5654.
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 7, Traffic, as follows. Section 7-33, Handicap Parking Regulations, 7-33.1A, Handicap Parking on Street. Add 703 Knopf Street, 1000 McCandless Street. Delete 237 First Avenue.
Has the ordinance been properly published and posted?
Yes, sir.
Have we received any written communication?
No, sir.
Is there anyone who wishes to be heard on the ordinance? Seeing none, I ask for a motion.
Council President, I ask that the ordinance be closed and, ask the hearing be closed and the ordinance 56-54 be adopted and seek a second.
Second.
Mr. Colbus?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Crosby Hurling?
Yes.
Zadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. 5655.
Bond ordinance authorizing the acquisition of various items of capital equipment for the Public Works Department and appropriating $676,500 and authorizing the issuance of $642,675 in bonds or notes to finance part of the cost thereof. Public Works Department automated refuge collection truck, estimated cost $346,500, bonds or notes $329,175, automated refuge containers $330,000, bonds or notes $313,500.
Has the ordinance been properly published and posted?
Yes, sir.
Have we received any written communication?
No, sir.
Is there anyone who wishes to speak on the ordinance? Would you come up, please? Pat Hero.
Women can do it for themselves. Power to the Patricia. Anyway, I have great respect for the intelligence and wisdom of Councilman Jack Sheehy. Having said that, I do disagree with him on this matter. I believe Councilman Sheehy is in favor of this. It is, after all, the DPW department that he oversees. And he is very, very smart in the handling of his issues with the Department of Public Works. Having said that, I do disagree on this. First of all, the cost. This is way too expensive at this time. Many of us, and I'm going to speak about this during the public portion, are struggling to pay our property taxes. This is an expense that, while some may feel is necessary, I don't believe is wise at the present time. The other thing is a personal concern of mine, and that's regarding people. An automated refuse collection truck would rely less on labor and more on automation. It's a personal, I guess, issue that I have. I personally believe that we should employ people and not rely on automation. We've seen large numbers of our jobs go overseas in this country. I'm reading a book, Betrayal of the American Dream, that deals with that very issue. And I believe any time we have the opportunity to keep people employed, it's a good idea. That's where I'm coming from on this. So I'm going to ask you to vote no on this, and thank you for your time.
Councilman Sheehy?
We're not going to lay anybody off over these garbage trucks. We're buying one truck at a time, and through attrition, as people retire, we will not have to lay anybody off. We've been working on these trucks, I'd say at least 3 years, and we're so far behind in garbage pickup, it's ridiculous. So we're moving forward with these trucks. And one of the other big reasons is, I don't know if I should tell you, but I'm here to tell you the truth. It's the men getting hurt. That's what put us over the top with these trucks. We've been trying to put the prices together for this for 3 years. And with the insurance commission and the way the insurance goes up every month, that's what put us over the top with these trucks, is the fellas getting hurt. So we will, that's what we're looking to cut into, the men getting hurt. That's what put us over the top with these trucks. There's nobody up here who wants to spend that amount of money. And like I said, we've been going over it for 3 years now. And now we have to move forward. And like I said, we're going to do 1 or 2 awards at a time, so there will not be anybody laid off. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Mr. Sheehy. Councilman Brown?
Thank you. I know that this has been talked about for a lot, and one of the reasons why I support this as well is that we're trying to update our fleet of garbage trucks, and correct me if I'm wrong, Councilman Sheehy, this is going to replace a truck that, 1 or 2 trucks that we're looking to take out of service.
Yes.
As well. So, you have to look at it from the perspective is, if we're going to invest in a truck, let's get a truck that actually we're going to save some money on. And as far as the labor, again, no one's getting laid off, and we're being able to reduce our manpower through nutrition. So I see more positives in this than anything else. So I support this.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Councilman Armstead?
Yes, Mr. President, thank you. Just want to dovetail over what Councilman Sheehy had mentioned. First of all, the real issue here is the downtime of personnel because of injuries related to garbage trucks. The other issue that Jack brought up, Councilman Sheehy brought up, was not laying people off. It is not our intention to lay people off. I feel that with this truck, the manpower and personnel that was needed for the other trucks, we can now redeploy that manpower into other areas of DPW to help them become more efficient, such as in tree areas and maybe cleaning up parks and other areas in town. So again, the objective here is not to lay people off. I think our objective is to downsize any departments further through attrition. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman. Mr. Sharpie?
Paul Sharpie, residing at 315 Second Avenue. And also, too, with this new truck, there's an attachment that could go on the opposite side of this truck. So you're getting 2 for the buck. The arm will be on one side of the truck, and the other side, an individual could dispose the can on the other side. So this is all worth it, and all residents will get a container, and this is about moving forward.
Well, Mr. Sharpie, to interrupt you, it's going to start out as a pilot program.
Right, but even though it could be used in other wards too. This truck is being used in Woodbridge, Westfield, and throughout the state. This new truck is being used in other parts of the state. And there's been no problems with it, so I think Linden should get this now. Not later, but now.
Thank you. Sir? Your name for the record?
Good evening, all. Dennis Kopecki. I live up on Erudo Street, and in harmony with the remarks that we heard earlier from Pat Hero, I have to say I oppose this particular resolution. I do have to look and say that while we have guarantees that there won't be any jobs lost, I tend to think it's a matter of, okay, we have guarantees and we have assurances that jobs will not be lost, but the city is asking us to spend about $750,000 by the time you add the interest in for the bonds that have to be issued. And then, of course, there is the matter of the bonds have to be paid back. Let's not kid ourselves there. And yet we have no money coming in because no one has made a report in the last few council meetings with regard to where we stand on the GM eyesore on Route 1. So we'll talk about that more in the public comments, but on this point in time, considering that we have such a light turnout tonight, I'd like to ask for a resolution to table this particular resolution, a motion I should say, to table this resolution until other people do have an opportunity to make comments on this particular resolution. And I could add something else to it which I don't want to, but I think it's important. I have it on good authority that there have been people who have attempted to contact Councilman Sadowski, and I don't know all the factors, but his phone line has always been busy whenever they tried to call. So not everyone has been heard in his ward as to the possibility of approving or opposing this, which is why I would like a motion to table this resolution until such time as we have more time to discuss it. Thank you.
Councilman Brown?
Yes, I mean, you bring up a good point as far as the cost of this, and with other things that I support when it comes to the cost of it, where we're getting the money, this is coming out of the capital budget, and I mean, Alexis, if you can just explain a little bit more. By us putting this in a capital budget, I mean, this really doesn't have a direct impact on the taxes because of the amount of time that this will be paid off and how we level our debt level. Can you
Correct.
explain that a little bit more?
What we do each year in the capital budget is we try to keep the capital budget at the same level as retiring debt. So as our debt retires, we'll go for a bond issue, and that's when you'll see that the debt service for the city of Linden's remain level. And by doing this, we're going to be doing what's called temporary financing, which are bands. So next year when we go for our bands, it'll be for the unfunded debt, which this would be a part of. So again, it has no impact on your current year budget or taxes.
What is the interest rate we get on those bands?
Less, I believe this year's present year was 1%.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Motion, please.
Council President, I'd like to close the hearing on 56, 55, and respectfully ask for a second.
Second.
Mr. Kalbas?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yamakaitis?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. 56.
1 second. Bond ordinance authorizing the acquisition of various items of capital equipment for the fire department and appropriating $180,000 and authorizing the issuance of $171,000 in bonds or notes to finance part of the cost thereof. Fire department radio equipment estimated cost $74,200, bonds or notes $70,490, turnout gear $79,600, bonds or notes $75,620, Various equipment, $26,200. Bonds or notes, $24,890.
Has the ordinance been properly published and posted?
Yes, sir.
Have we received any written communication?
No, sir.
Is there anyone wishes to be heard on the ordinance? Seeing none, I'll ask for a motion.
Mr. Council President, I ask that hearing be closed on ordinance 5656 and seek a second.
Second.
Mr. Colbus?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Crosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. Okay, we're going to move into the consent agenda. All items listed with an asterisk are considered to be routine by the city council and be enacted with one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless a council member or citizen so requests. In the event the item will be removed from the general order of business and considered in the normal sequence of the agenda. Items 1 through 3. Does anyone wish to remove an item? Motion?
Mr. Council President, I move consent agenda 1 through 3 and seek a second.
Second.
Mr. Colbus?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Crosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. Thank you. We'll move into committee reports from members of the council, and ask Chris Colibus from the First Ward to present his report.
Thank you, Council President. I have an announcement from the Department of Public Property and Community Services. They will be supporting or holding a Community Health and Wellness Day. It's free health screenings to all Linden residents. They'll be testing glucose testing, blood pressure, health lectures and demonstrations, flu shots, and much more things. When you go, a photo ID with an address is required and a Medicare card if applicable. It's going to take place at the Linden Multi-Purpose Center, 1025 John Street in Linden. The time will be 10 o'clock to 2 p.m. on Friday, October 26, 2012. I believe healthy snacks and beverages will be provided, and for further information, you can call 908-474-8639. I want to give a real thank you to the DPW department, especially the tree trimming crew and Craig Beecher. They've been in the First Ward over the last 2.5 to 3 weeks doing unbelievable work. Any requests that I've put in, I believe they've received, either trimmed or cut, or they're still on list, they're still working on it. And as they're going up and down, as they're going on the streets, they're trimming trees that are in in the wires while they're scoping it out. So if you can see, you can really see the difference going on in the First Ward and throughout the city of all the great work they're doing. So I thank you again for all the work. I have leaf bags available to any First Ward resident, and you can reach me at 925-5568 if you have any requests. And if you have any questions or concerns, you can give me a call at that number again. Just want to say that with Halloween coming up and the days getting shorter, that please be respectful of all our safety laws, and if you go trick-or-treating with your children and just walking around, even playing around, just be careful and cognizant that it is getting dark out and we need to obey the law and not speed and act accordingly. This concludes my report, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Brown?
Thank you. I want to start off by thanking the police department. A couple of weeks ago, there was another accident on Wood and Elizabeth Avenue, and this is being addressed. We know that this is a bad intersection, and with the mayor's help and the police chief, there will be some cops out there addressing this issue. The mayor, as well as the police department, met with the county to address some of the lights as far as them being synced on Wood Avenue. So as more information comes, I'll make sure to update people as well. Also, within the next couple of weeks, letters are going to be sent out inviting residents in certain streets from the 2nd, 3rd, and 6th Ward regarding the parking issues that we're having from people, New Jersey Transit, where they're not parking in the parking lot but parking on the streets. we're going to hold a public meeting and see what we can do to come up with some solutions in regards to that. Other than that, end of report.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Mr. Armstead?
Yes, Mr. President, thank you very much. I have the following reports from public property. I submit the following report from the Division of Transportation and Parking. Collections of parking meters, railroad daily parking lots, and railroad parking permits for the month of September 2012. Railroad daily New York side, $6,801. Railroad daily Trenton side, $6,995.50. Credit card transactions, it was $13,386.07. And railroad permits, we received $29,208.11. September parking meters, we received $12,240.70 for a grand total of $68,631.38. The following report comes from the licensing permits and transcripts issued by the City Clerk's Office during the month of September. There were 92 birth, death, and marriage transcripts for a total of $1,350. There were 19 marriage civil union licenses issued for a total of $57 and a total of $475 for the state. There were 17 miscellaneous revenue items for $94.53. There were 6 bingo raffles for $120, 199 EDRS vital statistics for $2,310, with a total of $4,406.53 for the month. The Clerk's Licensing Division is submitting a monthly report for the month of September 2012. The office issued 183 miscellaneous licenses for $23,919, and that's submitted by Joan Turbot. I'd like to make the following announcements. Please be advised that there's a vacancy for the position of municipal court attendant, part-time, in the court at an hourly rate of $10 an hour. The job description and requirements are attached. Of course, you can get a copy of that in the clerk's office. The position is not to exceed 19 and a half hours per week. Anyone interested in the above-mentioned vacancy must obtain an employment application from the clerk's office. All applications must be returned to the city clerk no later than Monday, October 29th, 2012. In addition to this posting, the position will be advertised publicly. Please be advised that there's a vacancy for the position of Public Safety Telecommunicator Trainee in the Central Dispatch of the Police Department at an annual salary of $33,234. The job description and requirements are attached. This position is a full-time position for 35 hours per week. Anyone interested in the above-mentioned vacancy must obtain an employment application from the city clerk's office. All applications must be returned to the city clerk's office no later than Monday, October 29th, 2012. In addition to this posting, the position will be advertised publicly. As usual, we have the Personnel and Finance Committee report. A copy of it should be for your viewing below. If anyone has any comments they'd like to make, we will take them at this time. Seeing none, I'll go along with the report. Approval is requested for the following personnel and finance actions. Number 1, in the Police Department, the approval of hiring of Marilyn Velez as a clerk typist part-time at $18.26 per hour, effective October 17th, 2012. Move for approval and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Colbus?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Crosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yamakaitis?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Item number 2, in the Division of Treasury, the approval of Margaret Nadler for an unpaid FMLA leave of absence from September 20th, 2012 through October 9th, 2012. Move for approval and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Colbus?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Crosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yamakaitis?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Item 3, authorization for the City of Linden to file for an involuntary disability retirement for Dorothy Riley, clerk typist in the police department. I move for approval and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Colbus?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Item 4, personnel required to carry out the Department of Public Property and Community Services seasonal programs. The list is on file in the Treasurer's office. Move for approval and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Colbus?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
No.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Item number 5, the payment of bills totaling $1,484,049.18. The bills have been signed by the mayor, council president, and finance chairman, and a detailed check register and vouchers are on file in the clerk's office. I move for approval and request a second on this item.
Second.
Mr. Colbus?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Item number 6, we are in receipt of the investments made by the city treasurer's office for the month of September at a rate of 0.25%. Move for approval and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Colbus?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Item 7, the correction of the percentage rate for the August investments to 0.25%. I move for approval and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Colbus?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
I'd like to remind the public that November 6th is Election Day. The polls will be open from 6 o'clock a.m. to 8 o'clock p.m., and you still can vote by absentee ballot, or actually, you can vote by mail through October 30th. Applications can be obtained in the clerk's office, and you can see, I guess you can call if you need them. Last but not least, I have a report. It has to do with some things that have been going on in our city. Early this summer, after the violent shooting of Amber Wilson, I began investigating the feasibility of the practical use of cameras as a possible way to assist in crime prevention in our city. A recent shooting in my community has only reinforced my resolve and should strengthen the resolve of the residents of the city to begin looking at alternate ways to fight crime. While I'll be the first to admit that cameras will not eliminate crime altogether, they can act as a deterrent. Cameras are increasingly catching criminals in the act. They are the eye in the sky and the most objective witnesses to a crime or accident. And as more and more security and surveillance cameras are installed in almost every imaginable area police officials say it will make solving and preventing crimes easier. When a police officer goes to a bad accident or a crime scene, not only do they scan the area for witnesses, but for the electronic eyes that are in the area. They give incredible, accurate information, and they have helped us to solve crimes such as homicides, shoplifting, burglaries, and other crimes. Cameras can put people at certain locations when they claim that they were not. In years past, banks and high-priced stores were the places where you found security cameras. Now it's virtually impossible to go anywhere, to any business or any area without being recorded on video. And today's cameras are much better than those used in the past, thanks to digital software which makes things easier to identify people. And as technology improves, our ability to identify perpetrators of crimes will also. There's no magic solution for crime, but I think it's important to remember that any tool that law enforcement can use for an advantage over criminals is a good thing. Tonight I'm asking residents of the City of Linden and other community stakeholders to join forces by utilizing existing cameras and help us to make it known to criminals that here in Linden we've decided to make our town a safe zone, and that we're willing to use the power of technology to prevent crime. Now, I've already directed our city treasurer to investigate the cost of cameras for use in certain public places. Once installed, and even before we can begin creating a vast network of cameras that can tie tens, even hundreds of cameras together allowing footage from many sites to be compiled and watched and stored at a central database. It's not going to be easy because cameras and high-tech equipment, they do have a cost. We have to look to the possibility of grants, donations, fundraising efforts, collections from community churches, city and local government funding, Department of Transportation, existing infrastructure, counterterrorism terrorism grants. It's not going to be easy, but some things that are worthwhile are not easy. And if you're interested in our efforts, you can send me an email at councilmanarmstead@comcast.net or call or leave your information, because I think this is something that needs to be done in our town. Thank you. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilman Armstead. Councilwoman Cosby Hurley.
Thank you, Council President. Can everybody hear me? Is that all right? Forgive my voice. I'm a little under the weather. I'm going to start my report again acknowledging Mrs. Suzette Green McCall and the survivors of breast cancer. Also want to just remind everyone that there are lots and lots of organizations that support research, they support education. Susan G. Coleman, and we also have here in Union County and Elizabeth, the Yvonne McCullough Foundation. So they give out lots of information, and it's not just for the month of October. In the 5th Ward, we are having a street closure on Union near Chandler, and we don't have a schedule yet. However, the county is going to be doing a project, and they're going to be replacing a culvert. So the street will be closed within the next couple of days until further notice. So just travel accordingly. I want to thank our city engineer, Mr. Verchik, who actually I chair that committee. He has done his employee evaluations on time. You know, this year we actually have the first employee evaluations for the city of Linden, so I applaud him for his efforts in getting that done in a timely manner and making sure that all of the requests from our committee are handled professionally. So thank you, George, and your staff. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Sadowski.
Thank you, Council President. A short report, real quickly. We are working on Route 19, Clinton Avenue, Wood Avenue, with the traffic blocking the intersections. Councilwoman Yamakaitis will explain a little bit more, but we're working with the lawyers to see if we can have the box painted just like Newark has and like New York City, if you see. If you get caught in a box, you got a problem. But this takes a little time, but our lawyers from the city are working on it. But I'm sure Michelle will give you a little bit more. Talking about with the fall coming, DPW will start picking up the leaves, and like they said, they will try to get us a schedule roughly when they will be coming in the ward. Once this is, it'll be posted, and of course, it depends on the weather and on anything that comes up. But I'll give you further information. As concerning the leaves, if anyone needs leaf bags, please, we just got them in. Give me a call. I'll get them to your house. My home phone is 486-9280. If I'm not there, just leave it on the message, or my wife will pick it up, and I'll give you the, I'll bring you the bags. Just trying to think. Don't forget the Halloween parade is coming up. Please, for enjoyment, please come out. But also that means with Halloween, you have to watch for the safety for the children. So please, right around Halloween, they'll be with the costumes. Please watch your driving and so on. On Cedar Avenue now, if anyone noticed the markings, they are getting ready to start paving. They will be paving Cedar Avenue from Woodlawn to Clinton, and they will be paving part of Woodlawn from Union to the highway. This will be coming up, I guess, in the next 2 weeks. But there'll be notifications, of course, about no parking and so on. The city right now is putting in a bid for state aid application to pave Linden Avenue. That would be from the cemetery gate to the Willow Glade Road. That's by BJ's. If they do get that thing, it will be next year when they put it in. But we'll give you further information on that. If you noticed, Union County has begun construction at Wheeler Park on the new artificial turf fields, the soccer fields. This construction period is scheduled for roughly 180 days. However, that may change depending how severe the elements are this winter. I've been advised by the county that the contractor has been reminded that no construction work is to begin before 7 a.m. If you live near the park, you may see workers arrive before 7 a.m., but under no circumstances will they begin work before that time in accordance to city ordinance. If you have questions about the park project, you may call the County Engineering Department, which is 908-789-3675, or the County Parks Director, Ron Zuber, at 908-527-4910. If you can't remember these, please give me a call at home, and we will give you the phone numbers if you need it. I have been assured that the contractor will work as quickly as possible to finish this improvement for our kids, with all efforts being made to minimize the inconvenience for those who live by the park. Now, this has already started. If you pass by, you can see they're leveling it. Well, this concludes my message.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Sheehy?
Thank you, Council President. From Department of Public Works, our recycling commingles, we received $7,764. Our scrap iron is at our second lowest number in the recent years. It was $526.12. Our leaf collection this year, we're going to post it on the city website and Channel 36.
And 42.
And 42. And remember now, we're going to try keeping up with the schedule. It's going to be very hard to keep a schedule due to weather and other situations that we run into, but we did have a lot of complaints on, when to put your leaves out. So it's going to be a trial basis. We are going to try giving you a schedule, which I believe we all do need a schedule on leaf pickup, but it's going to be tentative, the pickup. So be patient with us, and we're going to try our best, and I have full faith in Mr. Vakiti and his crew to handle that. And the Halloween parade. The Halloween parade's October 28th. We still could use a few volunteers. There's a meeting tomorrow night at the library at 7 o'clock. We basically need stoppers for the parade to regulate the flow of the parade. So if anybody wants to come out and get involved, please come out. And I'd like to thank the Union County freeholders for giving us a check for the Halloween parade. I really appreciate that, and so does the Halloween committee. There has been a lot of work done, throughout the city and in the 7th Ward this summer, and I appreciate the coordination with the engineering department and the public works department. And you heard before about Craig Beecher. I think we got the right guy in charge of our tree situation now. If anybody goes around this town and you can find a dead tree, you tell me, because the tree crew is doing an outstanding job in this town. I'd say over the last year, since Mr. Beecher was put in charge, and since Mr. Vakiti has been the superintendent of public works, I think our higher ranks in this city have really been stepping up to the plate, really producing and looking out and putting pride in what's going on in this town. Because, the curbs, the sidewalks, right now in the 7th Ward, we're going to be changing the stoplights on 12th Street and 18th Street, and we worked on the one on Main Street. Little things like that are making our town look a lot better and impressive. And I want to thank Mrs. Yamakaitis for the work she's doing on the blocking the box ordinance. It's a lot of work, and I'm thankful for her for stepping up to the plate because it's been long overdue, and I really appreciate your help on that. Thank you. It's the end of my report, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Sheehy. Councilwoman Yamakaitis?
Thank you, Mr. President. From the Board of Health, they just wanted me to mention that the seasonal flu shots are now being given by the Linden Health Department. You could call 474-8409 to register for your shot. And as Councilman Colibus mentioned, the Health Department will be participating in their first Community Health and Wellness Day at the LMPC on John Street on October 26th. For more information, please call the Multipurpose Center. The Linden Public Library, the Friends of the Linden Public Library will be sponsoring a book sale at the library on November 8th, 9th, and 10th. Book donations are being accepted until November 5th at the Linden Library. They will not accept encyclopedias, Reader's Digest books, old travel guides, instructional manuals, textbooks, or magazines. Bag Day of $3 a bag will be on Saturday, November 10th, so we ask for everyone for their participation in this. For the 8th Ward report, as several of my colleagues have mentioned, on tonight's agenda, Ordinance 5659 is being presented for introduction. This ordinance pertains to a do not block the box zone at Bachelor Avenue, Woodland Avenue, and Clinton Street. There would be a $250 penalty attached to this. I had requested our law department to research this. As many of us, particularly in the 8th, 6th, and 7th wards know, we have difficulty getting across Route 1 and 9 during rush hours. So we ask for council's support to pass this ordinance. The input I gave to the County of Union in their traffic study last year supported this recommendation as well. From the 8th Ward Neighborhood Watch, we're requesting the participation of residents once again this year, particularly on Mischief Night, October 30th. Please keep your lights on once again this year, and if you see any suspicious activity, please call the police department. If anyone would like to join us for ride-alongs, please contact me. I'd like to also make mention, we haven't heard much of this in about a year or so. We do have the graffiti squad. Many of you remember past couple of years, we were plagued by graffiti in this town, and the Public Works Committee did push to have a graffiti crew put up. I'd like to send a special thank you to Mr. Fakiti and Mr. Venditto. We did get a tag in the 8th Ward that was taken care of immediately. So I know sometimes you hear people saying, why did we purchase this equipment? I mean, if you look around Linden, this is one solution to a problem that I think we've really conquered. So if anybody sees any graffiti before the winter sets in, please call Public Works or your council person, let them know, because it does deteriorate the neighborhoods. And just one other mention, I have leaf bags available. If anybody needs leaf bags or any questions on anything, please give me a call at 925-2309. That concludes my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Frazier?
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, everyone. My report is as follows. The paving on DeWitt Terrace has been completed, and at the same time, striping has been added, particularly at the intersection of Edgewood Terrace and DeWitt, because that's the critical area where a number of students cross the street going to McManus. Several other areas have also been striped. In addition to that, I would caution motorists, just because it is paved, please obey the speed limit. It's 25 miles an hour. DeWitt Terrace is the ingress-egress to McManus Junior High School, Middle School, as well as Highland Elementary School. All right? Unfortunately, people think because it's just been paved that they can go a little faster than the speed limit. When you do that, quite frankly, you're putting our students, as well as any pedestrian's life, in jeopardy. One other item, too, that I noticed, we still have garage sales, which is great, because that gives the opportunity of the resident the opportunity to get rid of certain unneeded materials through a sale and make a few dollars too. However, when you're having garage sales, we do definitely have a permit system. You are to get a permit. It Doesn't cost that much. You get it from the city clerk's office. And when you get the permit, there are instructions as basically how you conduct the garage sale. You don't take signs and you don't nail them on telephone poles because they don't belong to you, all right? They belong to the utility company, and the utility company has installed on city property. At the same time, please, don't nail any of your signs advertising a garage sale on city trees or any tree. Doesn't belong there, all right? If you have to post signs, put them on a neighbor's corner property, request the permission from the neighbor first of all, or park a car on that corner and just put the sign on the windshield. That's all that has to be done. You know, with these signs, a number of people leave them on the poles, and when it blows, the wind blows or it rains, they're in the street. We don't want, at least I don't want the Ninth Ward or any ward to become a circus with graffiti all over the place. Please adhere to the instructions. All right, one item too, which I'm very, very proud to present to you. Recently, we, the city, have received an award from ANJEC, A-N-J-E-C. ANJEC is the Association of New Jersey Environmental Commissions. Every municipality throughout New Jersey has an environmental commission. We made applications for the award on behalf of the Hawk Rise facility down on Lower Road, particularly off of Range Road. And I'll just read the first opportunity of the letter here. Congratulations. This is directed to the mayor. I'm happy to inform you that the city of Linden has been chosen to receive the ANJEC Environmental Achievement Award for the successful work on the Hawk Rise Ecological Sanctuary. The project is a perfect example of the scope a group can achieve with enthusiastic volunteers. It's something that we're very, very proud of. Again, I've always believed that this landfill would eventually transform itself into a gem, and it's doing so. A little slowly, but it's doing so. We have the Hawk Rise Sanctuary, which surrounds a good portion of the landfill. And it's a urban sanctuary. And it's hard to believe that just 4.5 miles from here, there's a herd of about 34 deer, 50-some wild turkeys, cranes, egrets, various turtles, red-tailed fox, and from now I understand perhaps a coyote family too. So we have it right here in Linden. We've installed a trail that gives both our students as well as anyone interested in the environment to take a walk around. It's a 1.25 mile trail. And I'm also proud to say that we've had a meeting today with the New Jersey Audubon Society, who happen to be the stewards of this landfill. And they're going to assist us, hopefully, in getting funding to complete Phase 3 of this trail. Phase 3 will take the existing trail directly out to the Rawway River for boat launching and so forth, as well as a connection with the Rawway River Basin Authority. So we're really moving along, but the most important thing, we have this prestigious award right now. Quite frankly, I can't ever think that of the time when we've ever received an award from the ANJEC organization. So this is the first, and we'll be very, very happy to post it here at City Hall. Mr. President, that concludes my presentation, and I thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Frazier. Councilman Kaczynski?
Thank you, Mr. Council President. From the Construction Code and Lighting Committee, the office issued 132 permits and 97 certificates and collected $62,991 in fees for September. And from the Fire Committee, the Fire Prevention Bureau collected $3,051 in September. I would also like to thank everyone that came out and for those that were involved in Fire Prevention Night. including the firefighters, Deputy Chief Callahan, Chief Rizzo, and then the individuals that came out. It was a time that we can actually learn, see some good demonstrations, and see what the city actually offers. So I would like to thank everyone for that. In August, I didn't get a chance to say this last month, there was 747 total calls, and in September, it's 817 total calls. And also, the FMBA, Branch 34, is sending out a letter with their annual solicitation. This is legit, but if you have any questions, there's a number on it, you can call that, but obviously, if you're questioning the letter, you probably don't want to call the number on the letter. You can also call the chief's office at 474-4550. Again, it's going to be a letter, and there won't be phone calls. There's never phone calls. So just be on the lookout for that, and please, if you're able, please, consider it. And also, I'm going to receive from a letter from the clerk that was addressed to Chief Rizzo from the Linden Citizens Association that the clerk's office asked me to read into the record, so I will. Dear Chief Rizzo, thank you for your presentation September 20th to the Linden Citizens Association. The emergency response system under the Linden Fire Department was shown to be a complete success. Not only were you, Michael Sobolski, George Kuhn, and Adam Kaczynski professional and knowledgeable, but you were able to keep a captive audience, which is not always an easy task. I received many calls telling me how enjoyable and informative the evening was. It is a comfort to know how well Linden Fire Department is protecting its residents. Sincerely, Linden Citizens Association. In essence, I was a side player at that presentation. Chief Rizzo is always very accommodating with these invitations as they arise. So I thank him and the two firefighters who accompanied him for being great ambassadors of the city. Because after all, we might divide ourselves, especially when we are amongst ourselves between departments and parties or whatever, but to the average citizen, whether you're a firefighter, police officer, DPW worker, council person, what have you, you represent Linden, period. So I thank the chief and his department for their efforts being good ambassadors for the city. And from the 10th Ward, you're going to notice on the agenda tonight, there's a resolution regarding a dedication by Ryder for special 10th Ward projects and issues. In essence, this is in regards to my salary. I pledged to reinvest every dollar I made. So in order for this to be done with budgetary items such as curb repairs or anything like that, I have to do this particular budgetary process. There would have to be a line item, in essence, in the budget to pull the money from. So in other words, I couldn't just not accept the money, and I couldn't write a check to cover specific costs. So this is what we had to do according to our auditor. So that's what that's about. I would also like to congratulate the Linden Recreation and Public Property Department for hosting the Diamond Gloves Championship. It was a great night of boxing at the high school. I enjoyed it immensely. It's great to see young talent, regardless of the sport they're in, and to see people come out and support. So it was a great night, and if you went, you knew it, and if you didn't, get ready for next year and support it then. I also had the honor of representing the 10th Ward in Linden while marching in the Pulaski Day Parade, along with Mayor Gabunka and Councilpersons Koziel, Yamakutis, and Sadowski. And it was a memorable experience for me. And I would just like to congratulate the committee's efforts, especially our Grand Marshal Sue Miskowitz, who did a great job leading our contingent down Fifth Avenue. And I would also like to remind all 10th Ward residents to get out and vote this November. The polling stations are Deerfield School, 10 McManus, as always. The deadlines are coming up for the absentee ballots and the such. So if you need any assistance, feel free to call the clerk's office or contact me, or if you're in a different ward, any of your council persons. I'm sure they'll be able to help you in any way they can. I also have leaf bags if you need them to give me a call. And for any other issue, please give me a call. The number is 908-463-9234, or I can be reached by email at akaczynski@linden-nj.org. Thank you, Mr. Council President. This concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilman Kaczynski. Before we go into the mayor's report, I'd like to recognize Councilwoman Cosby Hurley.
Yes, I unintentionally forgot to ask for approval for an item from the engineering department. Specifically, Linden Property Holdings LLC is applying for a New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection for a treatment works approval. The permit is to discharge 144,000 gallons per day of groundwater collected from their groundwater remediation system. The authority superintendent and our city engineer reviewed the application and recommended for approval. It won't cost the city anything. So I'm going to ask that I'm going to move that our city engineer authorize and endorse the application and ask for a second.
Second. Second.
Mr. Kalbas?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski.
Yes.
Sheehy.
Yes.
Yemakaitis.
Yes.
Frazier.
Yes.
Kaczynski.
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes. Mr. Mayor?
Thank you, Council President. I'm just going to elaborate a little bit on what the 7th Ward Councilman said about the Halloween parade. Again, we're having it on Sunday, October 28th at 2 p.m. It's going to be on Front and Wood Avenue, starting at the old City Hall. This year, we're going to have something a little different. Besides the main reviewing stand in front of City Hall, we're going to have a second reviewing stand in front of school number 1. So we'll have 2 reviewing stands for various functions to perform in front of. And the Grand Marshal will be Al Volpe. He spent over 40 years in our Recreation Department and was considered and did make Linden one of the best recreation cities in the state of New Jersey. Also, I'd like to, and maybe a little early, but before we know it, Christmas will be around the corner. And we're going to have the tree lighting ceremony, which we have every year in front of City Hall. That's going to be December 7th at 6 p.m. Santa Claus is going to arrive by fire truck. He's going to go into the JTG Center behind City Hall, where we'll be able to give out free Christmas gifts to all Linden youth. Also, just for everybody to know, Comcast is offering a very beneficial service to allow people who can't afford internet service to be able to have internet service. It's going to be $9.95 a month, but you have to have one child who receives free or reduced price school lunches in the Linden school system. We're going to be notifying the parents that qualify for that free or reduced price school lunches so that they could have available on internet for their children also. The concept being that we should provide services such as this if we want to have children that are going to grow up to be successful adults, and we got to give them the opportunity to develop their internet skills. So again, the number, if you qualify, and again, most children will be notified through our superintendent of schools, but just in case you're not, the number to explore this possibility and see if you qualify is 1-855-846-8376. Again, 1-855-846-8376. There's posters in the city clerk's office. We have posters in the library and posters in the school. And lastly, I'd like to just elaborate a little bit because a person in the audience made a comment about General Motors and 108 acres that we have sitting vacant at this time. And without getting into specific details, that property was going to be developed 2 years ago. The problem is that we turned the frontage of that property, 35 acres, from light industry to retail commercial. And when ShopRite of Linden, which is an aviation plaza, and ShopRites are individually owned, heard that Super Walmart signed on a dotted line to be an anchor store in the General Motors property, they sued the city of Linden regarding the rezoning from light industry to retail commercial. We won in Superior Court, we won in the appellate division, and then we had to wait to go to the Supreme Court, which refused to hear it. Therefore, the appellate division's standing ruled. Once that was done, ShopRite is now suing us for the site plan approval. We won in Superior Court. They had 45 days to appeal it. They appealed it on the 44th day. Now they have a brief to submit. They've petitioned the court to give them more time to file their brief. ShopRite is costing the taxpayers of Linden an economic analysis done. If that 108 acres of property was developed tomorrow, and it was going to be developed 2 years ago, $5.4 million. because of the lawsuits. And their strategy is to delay, 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 and hopefully Super Walmart will go someplace else. And since Super Walmart is not going to break ground until the litigation is resolved, none of the anchor stores that are committed are going to sign on a dotted line. So that's the reason why we're sitting 2 years vacant on 108 acres of revenue-producing property. It seems like that is the weapon of choice, lawsuits for selfish individuals that want their own reasons to develop property, and it's at the expense of taxpayers of the city of Linden. It's occurring on other property in the city of Linden also, and that is a disgrace and an insult to the taxpayers who need this revenue. So that's the reason why you're sitting on 108 acres of vacant property, and I've said this time and time again to the Linden residents, don't shop in ShopRite. They're costing us considerable sums of money. End of report, Councilman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to move the floor to Mr. Brown.
Yes, Council President, I would like to table Resolution 381 and seek a second.
Second.
Mr. Culver.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Armstead.
Yes.
Cosby Hurling.
Yes.
Sadowski.
Yes.
Sheehy.
No.
Yemakaitis.
Yes.
Frazier.
Yes.
Kaczynski.
No.
Mr. Moore.
Yes. Now we'll move into resolutions. Public comments will be permitted for those specific resolutions to be removed from the consent approval. Please read the synopsis of the resolutions that have been prepared by the city clerk's office. Each is informative and self-explanatory. However, if you wish to address a specific resolution, the council will entertain questions on it. Does anyone wish to remove a resolution from 357 to 382? Am I right, Pat Hero? 370? 372? And 382? Yes? 359? 363? 366? 370? 372? Thank you. In the center, Ms. Smelling? 365? 366? 368? 370? I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. 373? And 382. Mr. Sharpie? 360? 370? We just removed it. Mr. Brown made a motion and it was tabled. Do you wish to remove any of the resolutions other than ones you stated? At this moment, do you wish to remove any of the resolutions that are on the agenda presently?
We're not voting on it. It was tabled.
Mr. Sharpie, we have the right to...
Mr. Armstead.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
We have the right to pull an ordinance.
All right. Do you have any other numbers you wish to remove? If not, I'll move to the left. On my left. Seeing none, I'll ask for a motion on the remaining.
Thank you, Council President. I seek a motion to pass resolutions 357 to 382, except for 359, 360, 363, 365, 366, 368, 372, 373, and 382. And I seek a second.
We got 370.
And 370, sorry.
Oh, second.
Mr. Colbus?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
359.
Mrs. Wolverding? It's 350.
Diane Wolverding, Morris Avenue. For this 359, it says an amendment for a contract with appraisal consultants. $25,000 now, but it says total expenditures paid to date, contract $100,000. Now, I understand it's to go for real estate appraisal because people are asking for tax appeals. Why are we hiring someone from the outside? Don't we have a department for this?
Mr. Fangella?
Appraisal consultants does all my tax court appraisal work for me. They've been doing it for years. We have a number of appeals, probably of over 50 tax court pending tax appeals right now. And this is for the preliminary reports he's done, and he has to prepare some trial revenue reports before the end of the year on a couple quite sizable cases.
So no one in the department goes out and appraises the property? It's someone from the outside? It's always been that way?
It's always been that way.
Because I just worry about the $100,000. If we would ever make that up and, spending all that money, we'd probably end up losing a lot more, in the appraisals.
The tax court in New Jersey requires municipalities to be represented by an expert witness, an outside impartial third party.
Oh, okay, so this is a state
Yes.
regulation. All right, that explains
Councilman
it. Thank
Brown?
you.
Yeah, Mike, just real quick, if you just clarify it too, we have the number of tax appeals and then the tax court. With these, when you talk about 50 appeals, these are cases that are well over a certain amount that we need
Yeah, it's
representation.
over $1 million in assessed value, unless they appeal the county board judgment, then it would be under $1 million.
And the total amount of tax appeals we have like this year is over, what, 400? The
The
overall?
total I had was 375 at the county tax board, and I have about 50 outstanding still at the tax court level.
Motion, please.
Council President, seek a motion for Resolution 359 and seek a second.
Second.
Mr. Colbus?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. 360, Mr. Sharpie?
Here we are again, Birdsall Service Group, administrative. It seems this Birdsall always gets a lot of our business here in the city, and I guess I've questioned why always Birdsall. That's all.
Motion, please.
I make a motion for the passage of Resolution 360 and seek a second.
Second.
Mr. Colbus?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. 363, Mrs. Wolverding?
What exactly does a constable do? It sounds like a job that you need a hat and a horse for, but what do they do?
Mr. Hudak?
Constables essentially have the power to serve process, same as a sheriff's office. They're
That's what I was going to
private
say. It
processors.
sounds like a similar job for the sheriff, so why are they this?
They're private, they are not law enforcement officers as the sheriffs, they're private individuals who are appointed at the local level. They are hired by lawyers to serve process or to do what's necessary. That's how they make their living.
Does the city pay for them?
Nope.
Okay, so they basically do the same thing as a sheriff, except they're not allowed to arrest anybody, I guess?
Correct.
Okay.
Motion, please.
Council President, I seek a motion for the passage of Resolution 363 and seek a second.
Second.
Mr. Colbus?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
No.
Yamakaitis?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. Mrs. Malik on 365.
Can someone just explain what is going to be included in this energy efficiency upgrade?
Mr. McDonald?
Yes, from time to time, PSE&G offers programs where they come in and perform an audit on individual facilities where there could be some conservation or energy savings. We met the criteria for the multipurpose center. We pay roughly 20% of the cost of the upgrades that they're going to do, such as lighting upgrades, ballast, dimmers, whatever they see fit. So we pay roughly $5,000. They pay $20,000 out of that. And it's a 20-80 split. So we've taken advantage of these programs in the past several times. I submitted for 3 different facilities. This particular grant was, LMPC met the criteria this time. So we do, every time it comes around, we try to put in for at least a couple of facilities.
Motion on 365, please.
Council President, I seek a motion for the passage of Resolution 365 and seek its second.
Second.
Mr. Kalbus?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yamakaitis?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. Number 366, Mrs. Malik?
What would be the cost for 3 copiers if we were to buy them instead of having this, this service?
Mrs. Zach?
I don't have that information today, but I can give you that information the next time I see you, or give you a call on it. This is just for a lease bid. That's the numbers that I have in front of me. I don't have anything for purchasing outright. I don't know if Mr. Bodek may have any
You don't
other
have, so
additional
it's
information.
I don't,
somewhat similar to this, or?
I don't know what the purchase price would be, but the bid for the lease also includes service and certain replaceable parts that have to be done, such as the toner and things like that are included in this price.
So could someone just get back to me on what a cost would be for the 3, and then if we were to supply our own toner and whatnot?
Mrs. Zach, could you do that for her?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Mrs. Wolvedink? So I'll ask for a motion on 366.
Council President, make a motion for the passage of Resolution 366 and seek a second.
Second.
Mr. Kalbus?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
No.
Yamakaitis?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. Number 368, Mrs. Malik?
Where is this money going to be going, the almost $50,000?
Mrs. Zach?
Each year, we cancel out the old claims checks. It goes into our surplus account.
It goes into our
surplus.
surplus account?
Yes.
Okay.
Motion, please.
Council President, make a motion for the passage of Resolution 368 and seek a second.
Second.
Mr. Kalbus?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yamakaitis?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. 370, Mr. Sharpie?
Paul Sharpie, the resolution, Edgar Lady, to bring before the Superior Court a matter of clarifying the legality of the position of an elected city council president. I, as a taxpayer, don't feel the legality that this should be brought in front of the court. As you were elected by the citizens, you as city council president elected, why should us taxpayers have to pay $5,000 of our hard-earned property tax money to this to be brought before the court?
Mr. Hudak?
Yeah, Council President, as you're aware, and at the meeting, you had actually requested a clarification as to this, that this matter had been resolved since the opinion was asked for some months ago to resolve it prior to the next election so that the clerks know what the actual position should be on the ballot and that there's no cloud, legal cloud hanging over the position.
But should we have, taxpayers pay this $5,000 out of, you know? Can't this be settled among everyone? You know, why does taxpayer money have to be brought in? The man was elected by the citizens. Now why do we have to take this to court and use our property tax money for this to go to court?
There's a difference of opinion, and the only way to resolve this is to get a declaratory judgment in court. It's for anybody that's at home that wishes to run for office, that this shouldn't be hanging over their head, that they should know what office they're running for, councilman at large or city council president. And,
well, I don't feel it's right, you know. You were voted in and that's it, you know. The position's gonna come up again when your time is up.
well, this is for the future.
Well, $5,000 of our tax money.
Well, that would just be for the city, and I would also have the access to attorney. Mrs. Hero, Ms. Hero. Ms. Hero?
Okay, Mr. Kaloji is a very, very fine attorney. Having said that, I wonder about, he is politically connected, and I wonder about that. Having said that, he is a very fine attorney. However, I happen to like an elected city council president. I happen to like the fact that we in the city of Linden get to vote for who will be our city council president. And I happen to have the feeling that with all the issues that we are dealing with and all the things that we could save money on, this is perhaps not the most important of issues that could be brought before the Superior Court. I don't know why some people feel this is necessary. In fact, I think this may be a political issue. I don't believe that this was addressed or even mentioned during the time of Council President Bob Bunk. I don't think Bob Bunk would have allowed this. And I think Bob Bunk controlled the city council pretty well. However, Bob Bunk is no longer the council president now, is he? We have somebody whom the council does not want to submit
You're wavering
to.
off of the point here.
I'm sorry, I'm just, so with that said, I believe that the voters should be the ones to decide who is the city council president. And yes, if this has to go before a declaratory judgment, by the way, I would like to have information as to when this is going to court, because if possible, I would like to be there that day to hear the arguments. Like I said, I respect Mr. Kaloji, but having said that, he does have political connections, and I am concerned about that. But he is a very good attorney. I'm sure he'll do a fine job. But like I said, I prefer to elect my council presidents rather than have the council elect them for me. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Wilverding?
I would like to know who sponsored this resolution.
Initially, at our reorganization meeting, when I guess when I was first elected, it was brought up as a ordinance or resolution, and it waned back and forth and sort of died down, and elections coming up again, and I'm concerned about the legality of the position for anybody in the city that decides they wish to run for it. I'm concerned about the legality of the position from what was brought up over the previous months and years. So the only way to get it resolved, from what I understand, is to go to court.
Well, I think it's ridiculous. Now, no offense, Mr. Moore, I didn't vote for you. I voted for Chief Miliano, but you won fair.
He's a great man.
You
Chief
won
Miliano.
fair and square. This is ridiculous. The people said they wanted you in, and to go through this nonsense is absolutely a political nonsense thing, wasting money, wasting time. It's an insult to us who go to vote. You know, I think this is absolutely insane. And it's a waste of court time when there's more important things to be, you know, presented to court. And it's just, I'm just really disgusted with some of the political nonsense that goes on in this town, and this is one of the things. And you won fair and square, so you should keep the position. And it would have never, ever been questioned for Mr. Bunk at all. So I'm sorry, this is absolutely ridiculous.
Thank you. Mrs. Malik.
The only three words that came to my mind was witch hunt and travesty, but I accept what your explanation was or is for putting this forth.
Thank you. Councilwoman Cosby Hurling.
Just so that everyone is clear, our council president requested the list of attorneys, and our attorney was asked to choose from that short list. Our council president is not going away. He was elected fair and square. Our council president has asked us to look into this for the next term. So he's not going to be going anywhere, and like he just said, whoever intends to run should know. Are you going to be running as an at-large council person, or will you still be running as council president? And just really quickly, the history is that there was never anything legally done to make this happen, just a cross out on a ballot. So it wasn't done legally, and that's why we're going to move forward with the declaratory judgment.
Thank you for your opinion, Councilwoman. Councilman Armstead.
Just so everybody knows that the first day that Jimmy Moore, Council President Moore, served on this dais, his authority was questioned, and the whole issue of whether or not the council presidency was legal or not was addressed. And like members of the audience has mentioned earlier, Bob Bunk's, Council President Bobby Bunk's authority was never questioned. They wouldn't dare do it, okay? But I do commend Council President Moore for, I think he's tired of everybody questioning his authority and questioning the public's decision to elect him. He was duly elected as a council president. I think that he is our council president, and I think that the opportunity will present itself for us to take this whole issue and put it to bed one day, and that will be done by way of an election, okay? And those people who are supporting such nonsense and foolishness, we will go after them and try to have them so they will not sit on this dais because they have decided to remove a council president's authority for political reasons. So we like to say in my house on any given Tuesday, and we'll see these folks who are supporting this nonsense on a Tuesday in their respective districts. Thank you.
A motion, please.
It's a promise.
Okay.
Motion.
Council President, make a motion for the passage of Resolution 370. Seek a second.
Second.
Mr. Colbus?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
No.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
No.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Frazier?
No.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. 372, Pat Hero.
Okay, which city department or has the Teamsters Local 469 at the collective bargaining unit agreement with?
Mr. Roth,
I'm sorry. John, I'm sorry.
speak into the microphone, please.
Yeah, what was the question? I'm sorry, what was the question, Ms. Hero?
Okay, what city department does the Teamsters Local 469 have the collective bargaining unit agreement with?
Their 469 is split into two. They're the white collar. There's one section of the unit is white collar, secretary, clerks, office staff. The other one is, which is the one that the resolution's for now, is for the blue-collar workers. That's all blue-collar workers for the city with the exception of the municipal garage.
Okay, now has this been, I guess this has been finished, right?
It's been finished for some time. We had some questions about how are we going to fix some language in the contract and also to work on the salary guides. We didn't agree on how to do the calculation. But now it's done, this is the final agreement.
How long is the agreement for?
It expires December 31, 2013.
2013, and do they have to pay into their medical benefits?
No, this was settled, the contract was settled before the implementation. This contract was settled almost 2 years ago.
Okay.
We're working on the language and the salary guide.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Wolverton? Motion, please.
Council President, make a motion for the passage of Resolution 372 and seek a second.
Second.
Mr. Colbus?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Crosby, Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Abstain.
Frazier?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. That brings us to 382. I'm sorry, 370.
373.
Mrs. Malik?
My question addresses both of these, 373 and 374. Can someone just explain what these are, like to approve the insertion of an item of revenue? Where's this revenue coming from? How does it come about?
Treasurer, Mrs. Zach?
Yes, the Chapter 159 refers to grants, and the grants are going to be added in as an item of our revenue. Once we have an adopted budget, we have to do an amendment, and that amendment's called a Chapter 159. In reference to that 2,373, the runway for the crack repair at Phase 1 for Linden Airport is coming from the Department of Transportation. That's a grant in the amount of $28,080. And the other item is the port security grant that's going to be coming to the Linden Fire Department, and that's in the amount of $23,850. And those are both grants that we have to accept and then put it into our budget as a revenue item.
Okay, but isn't it rather unusual that it's a revenue, but it's going to be used as an expense? I mean, is that just
For each-
accounting purposes, or?
Yes, well, for each grant that we have, we set up a revenue to accept the revenue, and then we have to set up what's called an appropriation in order for the various departments to spend the appropriation.
So like
there's a
debiting and
revenue-
credit, okay.
Correct, yes.
Okay, gotcha.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you on that number. Anyone else wishes to discuss those two resolutions? If not, motion, please.
Council President, make a motion for the passage of Resolution 373 and seek a second.
Second.
Mr. Colbus?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Crosby, Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. 382. Pat Hero?
Okay, for the public, let me just read Resolution 382, or at least the summation of it. Resolution approving the hiring of NW Financial Group LLC to evaluate and review the redevelopment proposals in connection with the Southwood Avenue project in an amount not to exceed $10,000. Might be one reason why government shouldn't be involved in the redevelopment business. But having said that, I understand this is a way that we can fast forward the Southwood Avenue project. Having said that, how many city employees do we have? And is there no one, I mean no one, that would be able to evaluate and review redevelopment proposals with regard to this? Why can't we do this in-house? Why do we have to go outside? Why do we have to spend $10,000? I mean, maybe to you $10,000 is nothing, but a lot of us could pay our property taxes for the year with that amount.
Mr. Brown?
Ms. Hira, I support this for a number of reasons. One of it is that I know the council has taken on a direction of whenever we're doing projects, we're doing a little bit more due diligence. With this project, it's a matter of making sure that their money is in order, to put it in a simple manner. I mean, if you look throughout the city, even across the street, you have a company that built here in Linden, and they're not here today. You know, they went either bankrupt or whatever. So from what I understand, this was put on to make sure that, you know, if this company is going to come to Linden and we accept their proposals, that they have the resources to build it, and they're not going to leave us high and dry, because you see the end result is that we can get empty buildings or the land is not developed. So.
Exactly, but I also raised the point, can't we do it in-house rather than contract all this stuff out?
For what I understand,
That's my case.
this is a financial company that we currently use right now. So we're just asking them to provide a little bit more service. I mean, this is a company that we use on a regular basis. I think the treasurer can actually elaborate on that a little bit more.
Mr. Mayor?
Mr. President.
Thank you, Council President. What we are close to doing is formulating a redevelopment agreement with Capadagli Builders on Southwood Avenue by the vacant property on School 6. The reason we are doing this is to hire an expert that knows financial analysis and can review the finances of this corporation to make sure that we don't make the same mistake we made with Verge Industries and Morningstar Industries, where they didn't have the financial resources to continue. We're spending a little money, and it's not going to be $10,000. It's going to be far less than that. But these are the experts that are going to go over their financials so that we know they have enough money to do the project, not start it, not complete it halfway, and then run out of funds. That's the wise way to do a project and make sure you're dealing with a reputable developer.
Councilman Armstead?
Well, that's the point I wanted to make, is that we're not going to actually spend $10,000. And I think the city is moving in the right direction by hiring this firm, because as the mayor mentioned, we've got a number of development deals that have gone awry. And in the past, it seems like we didn't do due diligence. Everything was done with a handshake, wink, and a nod, and it has led us down the path that we're on today with a number of redevelopments in Linden that have gone bust. So I think that we're moving in the right direction, and I'm supporting this ordinance.
Thank you, Councilman. Mr. Sadowski?
Okay, sitting in at the meetings for this, we talked to a lot of the people, and one of the suggestions was exactly what it was, hiring a to find out what their finances are. I'm just trying to think of the words. They explained how it's almost like an insurance policy. You're paying X amount for this person to check on what they have, so you don't get caught holding the bag in. And I think all the experts agreed this would be the way the city should go, and that's one of the reasons.
Councilman Sheehy?
Thank you, sir. I agree with this 100%. In the past, we actually hired invisible developers. If anybody here could show me or tell me where Verge Industries is, I'd like to know. We've done it in-house before, and I think this is going to be money well spent, and I think we should make it a habit when anybody's coming to town, you know, that we do a thorough background check on them. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Sheehy. Motion, please. Oh, I'm sorry, Mrs. Malik? I think she left. Okay, I'll ask for a motion.
Council President, I make a motion for the passage of Resolution 382 and seek a second.
Second.
Mr. Colbus?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. Thank you. The council, in order to take into consideration public input into proposed ordinance, will allow 3 minutes for each individual to speak on the ordinance on first reading. Council will not answer any questions, and everyone is reminded that the public hearing on each of these ordinances will be held next month at the council meeting. 5657.
An ordinance to amend an ordinance entitled, an ordinance establishing a schedule of titles, salary ranges, and regulations for maintaining the classification and salary standardization plan of all employees of the City of Linden, passed August 15, 1995, and approved August 16, 1995, for Chief Public Defender and Municipal Public Defender.
Comments, please? Am I right? Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Motion, please.
Yes, Mr. President, I move for an introduction of ordinance 5657 and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Colbus?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. 5658.
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 7 Traffic shall be amended as follows. Section 7-33 Handicap Parking Regulations, 7-33.1A Handicap Parking on Street, add 817 Union Street, 1 space, 613 Jackson Avenue, 1 space.
Public comments? Motion, please.
Yes, Mr. President, I move for an introduction to ordinance 5658 and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Colbus?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. 5659.
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 7 Traffic shall be amended as follows. Section 7-34 Reserved shall be deleted. Add Section 7-34 Don't Block the Box.
Comments from the public? Motion, please.
Mr. President, I move for introduction of ordinance 5659 and request a second.
Second.
Colibus?
Yep.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. 5660.
Bond ordinance appropriating the amount of $121,000 for the installation of traffic signals and related traffic improvements for the police department, and authorizing the issuance of $114,950 in bonds or notes to finance part of the appropriations.
Public comment? Motion, please.
Move for an introduction of ordinance 5660 and request a second.
Second.
Colibus?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. We're going to move into...
No, we have
Under 61.
I'm sorry.
5651. An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 2 Administration as follows. Delete Section 2-23.9 Municipal Public Defender, Section 23.9 A and B. Add new Sections 2-23.9 Municipal Public Defender, Sections 23.9 A and B.
Comments, please? Please come up.
Good evening, everyone. Jacqueline Williams, 8th Ward. I guess what I'm looking for is an explanation of exactly what is this. You know, can I have the details on this? And after that, I just want to know whether or not the City of Linden actually has a public defender, because it seems like every month that I come here, we have various attorneys filling in as a public defender. And I see here now, we're paying them $350 per appearance. Is that per person as well? And I know that's aside from this ordinance, but, and I know that you can't answer questions, but can we at least get an explanation as to what this is?
5661.
Yes.
Mrs. Zack, can you clarify this ordinance?
Yeah, Council President, if I may, this is the ordinance to create a second public defender position.
Okay, so, okay.
Jackie, the ordinance will be posted in front of the city clerk's office tomorrow. It'll be online tomorrow as well, too, if you
Okay, but
want to
this is
review the
just to
full,
add a
the full
second
ordinance.
position. Thank you.
Motion?
Move for an introduction of ordinance 5661 and request a second.
Second.
Colibus?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. Public comments, we'll start with Pat Hero. No personal, derogatory comments, please.
Every time you say that, I feel my First Amendment rights being chilled. First of all, I'm going to apologize to anyone who was hoping that I would speak on Alice tonight. Alice is probably going to have to wait till December, because sometimes I have to postpone what I really wanted to say for another time, because something has come up, and that is the case tonight. Anyway, I want to first of all wish happy birthday to the police chief. I want to say to Councilman Armstead, while I may want to quote George Orwell, he may have come to love Councilman Armstead may have come to love Big Brother, I am still not so enamored and prefer the United States Constitution. And I believe if we're going to look at cutting crime, we should look at changing people's hearts. But that deals with something outside of this governing body. And Councilman Brown's, let me see, what time is it now?
4 minutes.
The time is now 8:50, and Councilman Peter Brown's biography is still not on the city's website. Personally, Mr. Brown, I just want to know who you are. I'm just kind of interested. I mean, I know some things. And if you need help in writing a biography, I'd be more than happy to sit down for 30 minutes and get the information from you and help you out with one. But that's all we want to know is who you are. I mean, we're paying your salary on the city council. You might as well know who you are. Now, let's talk about the resolution that I couldn't talk about because it was pulled. ISP. Now, with the exception of the December meeting that I didn't know about, I was at every single one of the planning board hearings. And the planning board made a very good decision. They decided, and what a concept, to give ISP the right to develop their own property. Isn't that all we want in this country? The right to deal with what is yours? I mean, after all, you wouldn't want one of your council seats to be taken and given to someone who they thought was more qualified. Now, granted, we do have a thing of voting when that happens, but you just wouldn't want during your term some new person just plopped in your seat just because other people didn't think you were doing such a great job. Such is the case with ISP. It's ISP's property. They spend millions and millions of dollars cleaning up that property. Don't they have the right to do with it as they see fit? It is not the council people's rights to take their property and give it to someone else. Shall we say, a politically connected developer, perhaps? I think that they have the right to develop their own property. Remember the Kelo decision? Kelo decision had Pfizer, a multi-million-dollar company, come into New London, and they were going to build this magnificent headquarters. Okay? And it was going to be all well and good, except somebody like Suzette Kelo and some of her friends stood up and said, no, we don't want our homes taken. Well, went all the way up to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court said, well, it's a public benefit. Her home can be taken. After all, the city's going to benefit. I don't know if the city's benefiting now. If Supreme Court Justice John Stevens, who wrote the decision, I believe he wrote the decision, said, he would look at it now and see nothing but an empty lot. Pfizer never built that headquarters, and that's all it is, an empty lot. If he only had the benefit of looking ahead from that decision. You have the benefit now. Let ISP keep their own property. Let them sell it to whomever they want to sell with, and let it not be forced upon them, like I believe some of the council may want to do.
1 minute,
Okay?
please.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Mr.
Council
Sharpie?
President, can I respond to that
Mayor?
also?
Sure.
I think the public should know that we discussed this for the last 2 nights in City Council. I'm a member of the Planning Board. Councilman Colibus in the First Ward's a member of the Planning Board, along with 8 other people. We had 9 months of testimony by attorneys representing the Union County Improvement Authority, the Morris Group, and the ISP Group, trying to defend their position. And after hearing 20 to 25 hours of testimony, the Planning Board unanimously, and I repeat, unanimously, found that the ISP property was not blighted. What that means is that if it's not blighted, then the city of Linden does not have the authority to declare eminent domain and take that property from ISP, who's the rightful owner, and give it to another developer to develop. Unanimous decision. Unfortunately, the way the law is written, the Planning Board could only recommend to this governing body that we do not declare it blighted and we do not take that property, which has been in litigation since 2005. Again, another piece, 134 acres of developable property because of litigation, and we are not receiving revenue. This governing body then had the decision to make a recommendation supporting, or to pass a resolution supporting the planning board or not supporting the planning board. Again, what do we have a planning board for? What do we listen to 20 to 25 hours of testimony over 9 months if this governing body doesn't take that recommendation and realize that all these volunteers put in a lot of time and effort and unanimously agreed that we should return that property to the rightful owner. As you saw, this governing body kicked the can down the road as usual. Thank you, Council President.
Mr. Sharpie?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I have to agree with the mayor. The second time, this city council is stopping Linden from moving forward. It's a shame. Litigations with Walmart, here again with ISAP. When is this going to stop? The taxpayers are getting fed up. You were voted in to represent us, the taxpayers. Resolutions at the last thing because a certain attorney on this city is turning the city backwards so he can put money in people's pockets. When is this going to stop? When? I hope on November 6th, people will realize what you've been getting from this city council. Since I've lived in this town since 1994, when I married my wife, my taxes have not gone down. When John Gregorio took care of this city, it was run right. We were respected as taxpayers, and things were being done right. And even the town I come from in Pennsylvania, we took care of our citizens. We made sure their taxes were down, affordable. Here, I don't even get a tax pay increase, like 30% from the county, 15% from us here in the city. Certain political officials being given a $30,000 raise, and then my child is neglected computers in the schools. When is this going to stop? Please, citizens who have a right to vote, vote for change.
Mr. Kopecki.
Thank you. Mayor Grabunka, I cannot thank you or applaud you enough for the comments you gave us on the, what I've affectionately named, the GM eyesore. And now also, I guess, with 134 acres, we have a second rather conspicuous rateable, which doesn't seem to be going very far. My concern arose particularly from the standpoint of, gee, you know, while I was considering the one-armed garbage truck resolution, we haven't had a report on what's going on with the GM eyesore in a long time. And what I'd like to recommend is that as part of these city council meetings, whether your report or one of the members of the council give us an update a little bit more often than I think probably last spring was the last time we heard anything from you. And I'll rely upon the historians of the city to tell us how long it's been since you told us anything about it. But please, if you could, keep us more informed on this stuff. You may include in your report something as to what the city might be doing to get some of these ratables of ours settled that are in litigation. I don't think it's right that, well, if nobody asks about it, we shouldn't say anything about it. I'd rather you guys come through automatically and say, hey, you know, we haven't said anything about this, or we have a new development in that, and let us know. That's what I think some of us come to these meetings for. Thank you very much.
Good point, sir. I will do that in the future, but I also suggest that you look at my website, which I pay for, LindenMayor.com. LindenMayor.com, you'll see all of the developments that are potentially out there for the city of Linden. But I will make periodic reports for the public.
Thank you, Mayor. Jacqueline Williams, please.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council, Jacqueline Williams, 8th Ward. I didn't intend on commenting on the redevelopment project for the GM, but I just want to put it out there because I'm glad that I went to the caucus meeting yesterday because I was able to hear both sides of the story, and I think I may be a little bit more confused now than ever before, because it was my understanding the opposing attorney had stated that their client was willing to stand down to allow ISP to develop their own property. You know, maybe we can talk more about that in private. I really don't want to take up my time now to discuss it unless you wish to comment on it afterwards. I wanted to thank Councilman Brown for bringing up the fact that the City Council has decided to hold public hearings, and I want to thank you about your decision to hold a public hearing regarding the parking situation for the train commuters. I'm not going to comment or repeat the comments that I made yesterday. I'll save it for the public hearing. I just ask that the City Council do send me an invitation as well. I believe you have my address on file because I would like to be there for that. I had some other comments, but right about now I'm so tired I can't remember it, but I'll conclude my message there. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Alvarez.
Good evening, George Alvarez, 318 East Curtis Street. I have nothing political and I have no complaints, so I hope I don't disappoint you. My family and I, we've been having this Halloween haunted house for the past 6 or 7 years at no cost to anybody but ourselves because we just like to have fun. But last year I realized that we had a long line, which I noticed has been growing. Now I have my neighbors doing it and we're expanding. And really I'm here for 2 reasons. One of them is to invite all of you, which some of you have been there already, to come and see it on Halloween, because what I will be proposing next year, since it's expanding, maybe to move it somewhere like the Promenade, at no cost to the city. The second thing is I want to introduce a new group that has formed. This is a group of parents that, like you, is working for the city. We're all volunteers. No, we don't get paid, no overtime, nothing like that. It's just simply for the community, a group of parents that are interested in bringing the community together. Like all of you work for the money and making the city better than it is now, we're doing the same thing with the community. And we are known as the Linden Community Organization, and we're going to be having November 2nd, our first, I don't know what you want to call it.
Event.
What?
Event.
Thank you. Our first event. And there's going to be a jack-o'-lantern at Wilson Park, and we're inviting everybody. Now, we do know the Friday night is also, the Friday night the 2nd is also the homecoming. And this is basically for the younger kids, it's not for the teenagers. So I hope everybody comes, see what we're doing. We are here for the community, we're here for...
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. You're cutting me off again?
No, no.
Okay.
Clarification. Last night, you brought your proposal to us, and I thought we moved the event down to Tremley. To ice skating rink?
I spoke with Mr. McDonald. I don't know, I thought he brought it up to you. It would be more center, and it's bigger. I did go by Tremley. I saw the pond is a lot smaller and it's not very well lighted. I don't know, I can talk to Mr. McDonald, bring it up to your office, you know, because we have to pass flyers, so maybe I can have him give you a call. Wilson Park is more centered.
I know the suggestion was made that we moved it to Tremley, but I don't think a decision was made on that. So we were planning on keeping it at Wilson Park.
It's more centered, it's lighted, and we have the kids and we need the light, because we're going to have the basketball lights on there. And since we're going to be giving like free hot chocolate and free apple cider, you know, we were thinking it would be a little bit better. I passed by the place you guys suggested, and if it rains, it's going to be, the pond is going to be all over. You know, trust me, Wilson Park will be good. You're going to be there, right? And you'll help us clean up afterwards. It's all volunteers. Thank you, sir. So everybody's invited. Please come by Halloween. You can wear the masks that you're wearing now. They're very nice.
What was your address?
318 East Curtis Street, 2 blocks from School 1.
Thank you.
Okay? And next year, if it works and you guys like it, I will be here, and I'll be getting some funding, and hopefully we can bring it up to the promenade so more people can see it. And November 2nd, come out, join us. We're volunteers, and we need more volunteers. Okay? Thank you. Have a nice
good
night.
Council conference meetings, Monday, November 19th, 2012, at 6 p.m. in the council conference room, City Hall, 301 Northwood Avenue. Council conference meeting prior to the council meeting. Tuesday, November 20th, 2012, 6 p.m. in the council conference room, City Hall, 301 Northwood Avenue. Council meeting Tuesday, November 20th, 2012, at 7 p.m. in the council chambers, City Hall, 301 Northwood Avenue. I ask for a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion.
Second.
Second.
Mr. Colbus?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yamakitis?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
My